The purpose of this show is to guide you to realign with habits that get you to live the life you've always dreamed of. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with Jesse Yule. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle, where you can access your full potential right now. Finally break free from destructive habits. That dream life, if you want it, you can have it. This is where you transform your health, mind, business, and relationships. Or do nothing and keep your life the way it is. But if you're ready for change, you're in the right place. This is where you're gonna learn how to live a habit-based lifestyle. You are tuning in to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Jesse Yule. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle. Let's go.
Welcome back to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Yule, and today we're going to be talking about investing. So I just got back from a 2-day vacation to Las Vegas with my wife, and I wanted to talk to you about investing inside of your relationships, investing in your marriage, investing in your spouse, because I think now more than ever, this is an opportunity for you to figure out as a business owner, business person, married businessman, even women, on the relationship or the business that actually matters most. I think a lot of times we put a lot of emphasis into our business as being our number one business. But if you really think about it, marriage is your number one business. And so if you're not investing in that, no matter how much money you make, no matter how successful you are, it never actually feels completely fulfilled if we're not on the same page with our spouse, if we're not sharing this inside of our relationship. It always feels empty, no matter how successful you are. But as we went on this vacation or 2-day trip a couple days ago, we got to get away for a few days from kind of the normal day-to-day operations, an opportunity just to hang out, spend some time together. And really, for the most part, you know, you can figure it out. Like Vegas pretty much was wide open outside of, you just have to wear a mask, and that was about it. Everything else kind of seemed the same. Although on Monday morning, it seemed like it was kind of dead, but like Saturday, Sunday, it seemed kind of like normal Vegas. But I know in my marriage for a while, there was a period of time where I kind of felt like I couldn't take time away from work. Like I was losing some opportunity. Maybe I was going to lose out on sales, lose out on leads. I think the biggest thing is, as a business owner, once we go on a vacation or we kind of go away for a few days, we think about all the work that's always piling up when we get back. And so, I remember not really being able to relax, feeling like, I don't know if you ever felt this way, but like you go on a 7-day trip and it takes you 3 days just to relax. And then by the time you get completely relaxed, it's like, okay, now I got to come home. And then it's got like, I got 7 days worth of things that I didn't do. But as I began to kind of build this lifestyle business system, I think one of the main things that I started looking at is like, I needed to make a consistent investment in my marriage to show that I was just as committed to that business as the business that produced me money. Because if I wasn't investing in my marriage, then I would begin to overinvest in my business. And as I would do that, I would lose sight of that relationship that made my business actually stronger. And so, as I look at my relationship now with my wife, it's like, hey, we can go away to, just in the last, I think since August, we went on a family vacation to Cabo. We went on a vacation with just us in October. And then we just went on a overnight the week before here where we live at Surf and Sand. And then we just went on, another trip, and we've had a couple overnights in between there. But I think the important thing to realize is, yes, those cost money. Yes, I'm paying something for those, but really I'm investing into my relationship that matters most. My wife works her butt off with our kids, and being that they're not in school like they normally are, she's at home a lot more with kids. So, I have to create opportunities and create ways that we can invest, that I can invest in her, because, she sees that as, hey, I'm making that, our marriage, our number one business, versus kind of what I used to do was, hey, we can't go on vacation for the next 6 months because, I got to focus on work and building the business. And I do really believe that there's a period of time in your marriage probably where that's true, especially being a business owner. But I do think the one area where business owners neglect is the investment they're putting back into their marriage, the investment they're putting back in their family. And if you're investing in your business as your number one, investment, you also have to look at the relationship you have with your spouse, because I know from my own personal experiences, if that relationship is not taken care of, I don't feel fulfilled no matter how well I do in my day-to-day business. I don't feel fulfilled in that business unless my relationship is, paying dividends also. And so I think the big thing that I seen in the way that it used to be was like, I would maybe go on vacation. We would maybe go on vacation once every 6 months. This was kind of maybe once a year back, kind of like the first 7, 8, 9, 10 years we were married. And consistently, the last 5 or 6, we've started to kind of say, okay, well, part of our lifestyle that we want to have is we want to make sure we're investing in each other. I want to make sure I'm investing in my wife, and she knows that I'm consistently showing up and investing in her. And that makes her appreciate what I'm doing. I think obviously a daily investment matters, but I think that deposit. So say that like this investment you're making in your marriage matters on a day-to-day basis, week to week, month to month, quarter to quarter. But where we have issues and problems is when we stop investing. And so I kind of think of it the same way as like, hey, if you're going to go study every single day for your day-to-day business, if you're not, and that's an investment you're making into yourself, into your business, whether you're doing coaching even inside of your business, if you're not doing that same style of investment into your marriage, into your spouse, don't be surprised when that investment begins to dry up and you begin to have, say, that bank account all of a sudden no longer paying you dividends, and it becomes a much bigger problem. Because if you neglect your business, a lot of times, like business owners tend to neglect their wives, their business would begin to deteriorate. Their business would stop paying dividends. But in marriages today, that is a huge deficit you see, is like, man, your relationship, if you treated your relationship more like you treated your business, chances are you would not be, deficient inside of that. And so I think the key thing that I thought about this weekend was like, man, we just went to Surf and Sand the weekend before. Now we're in Vegas, and, hey, my relationship's feeling pretty good right now. Well, let's just look at what I've been doing. Let's look at the standard I've started to raise the last 5, 6 years. And also like talking about, hey, there was a period in time in my marriage to where it wasn't, paying dividends. It was, at a deficit. It was kind of like a broke model. And so until I learned how to make investments into my marriage, things really began to change. And some of you may be like, well, hey, dude, I can't afford to take my wife on to Vegas. I can't afford to take my wife overnight. I get it. But like what you can do is some basic things. Like what are basic things you can invest in your wife, whether it be getting her a babysitter so you can go out on date night, that you can have 1 or 2 days, 2 nights a week. Maybe you can also like take her out for nails. Maybe you can hire a nanny to come and watch your kids so she can have some time to herself. But I know this for me, that my number one business is my marriage. If that's not in a stable position, no matter how much money I make, it never feels good. It never feels fulfilled with my wife supported. The other thing is investing in my marriage, no matter what level I've done it at, has always paid dividends. And so I want you to think of like a 401k or a bank or whatever you call a life insurance policy is. No matter how much I invested in any of those things, they always paid me back dividends. And that's the same thing with your marriages. Investing in your marriage will always pay dividends, whether it be daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly. But here's what I want you to know is the size of investment doesn't always matter as much as the consistency of the investment. And so, one thing that I've learned is, hey, you could take your wife on a vacation once every 6 months, but then you're losing out on that investment throughout that 6 months. Or you could begin to do daily, weekly, even quarterly stuff to where it's more consistent and it's paying dividends back a lot quicker. And so I think the key thing that I want you to walk away with this from, and not only you two, but for me to really understand is like, hey, I'd rather be consistent in investing than just doing this big one lump sum once every 6 months or once every year. Consistency pays more dividends than anything else. And my number one business is my marriage. And that's the position I have to have it in, because when I make my business number one, things begin to fall apart in my marriage, in my family. And then business becomes a bigger struggle. And so why not pay attention to that business, because it's going to bleed over into another area of my life. And so as you're walking away from this, and as I walked away from, a 2-day trip with my wife, was like, man, it only took a couple days. We had fun, we hung out, we went to dinner, and we got to go to a show, and we enjoyed just having our time together, and we created memories. And so I think the important thing for you to discover, and what I want you to take away from this, is like, be consistent with your investment with your spouse, as consistent as you may be with your business investment. Study your spouse and your relationship as much as you study your business. And then also put your number one business into your marriage, because it's ultimately going to help you grow financially more than anything else. The more stable that is, the bigger foundation you have to build on top of that, not only in your professional business, but in your family and your marriage. And I know if that relationship is affected, then it's going to be harder for you to grow. So guys, I want to thank you for joining me today. If you're looking to connect further with a group of like-minded people, join myself and so many others in the Habit-Based Lifestyle and Business Secrets, where we'll be dropping daily habits and marketing tips, business habits that'll help you and your business and your life go to this next level. Inside of that, we've created this lifestyle business system that gives you the ultimate freedom in your life. And not only that, every single week we're inside of that playing our Coach's Corner that gives you free access to what we're actually doing inside of life and business that's ultimately working. So would love to have you guys join that. If you're listening to this, just follow the link, head on over to Habit-Based Lifestyle Secrets Group. Until next episode, have a great day.
The purpose of this show is to guide you to realign with habits that get you to live the life you've always dreamed of. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with Jesse